what's happening there. Big Uncle Shredneck. We're going to discuss briefly today why being a little bit sore during big training blocks is actually okay, and eventually it's something that'll be beneficial for you. Now, I know with how the fitness and strength and conditioning world is now, there's a big emphasis on recovery and doing all this stuff to make sure you're, fresh, ready for the next workout, which does have its merits. And this does not apply to training, right before a competition or a race or a season, whatever. This is a big training block that takes place, this will, think of it like this is, if the year split up into, a preseason, a regular season, postseason. This is what we're doing before the preseason, all right? This is the big training block that allows us to get all the adaptations, all the good stuff from the training to transfer over to real results in the actual sport. Now, this is something that I've intuitively have thought about over the years. And, again, as someone who has spent, over 20 years doing very serious training, working with people myself, training and coaching people myself, being trained and coached by others, I've kind of found, this to be something that is very, very true. Now, when you're in a big training block, there's inevitably going to be soreness, especially if you're in a training block that calls for a lot of volume. Now, again, the more your body becomes acclimated to the volume, the less we're going to see soreness. And now this is also something I actually just got done reading, this great book, recommended by the all knowledgeable R.I.P. Louis Simmons. This book was recommended by Louis Simmons. It's called The Science of Getting Fast by Hank Kreisenhoff. I don't really know how to say the dude's name. Dutch track and field coach, really successful coach with sprinters. And something he mentioned in the book was how he didn't let his athletes during these big training blocks use a lot of recovery methods, such as ice baths, different, Tylenol, Motrin, shit like that. He didn't let his athletes use any of that stuff. And the reason he didn't, and there's actually something Louis Simmons has discussed too, which again, it just something just intuitively clicked in my head, and it's like, yeah, this does make sense because I've seen it. So again, this whole idea of just being a little bit sore, the main gist of it, I'm going to try to explain it in a very simplified way. So, as we all know, as science and biology, anatomy has taught us, when we exercise, muscle fibers tear. Now, what happens is, for example, when, you do, an ice bath or different massage methods or, taking anti-inflammatory, what that does is that blocks the process of the adaptation taking place from the training and then transferring to, the adaptation that'll lead to a result. Now, I can maybe, as actually I'm saying that now, maybe that's not the best way to put it. But again, think of it like this. So we tear the muscle fibers down, right? Now, if we use these recovery methods, which again, I'm not saying don't use them at all, because, you don't want to go into a competition, a race, or parts of the season, tired, sore, etc. We don't want to do that. This is for, again, just the big training blocks that allows us, weeks afterwards to really see the adaptations and really see, the different processes that took place that allow us to increase our performance. Okay. Now, a lot of times too, just the reality of high level athletes training, they do use performance enhancers. That's just a reality. And we're not really talking about the legality or the morality of it. We don't care about that. We're just saying straight objective facts. Athletes during these big training blocks, use performance enhancers. So, for them, you know, they may not get as sore. They definitely still do, but, you know, not as much. But, you know, again, this is aimed, you know, also too for, you know, people who are not using performance enhancers. You know, again, don't be afraid of a little bit of soreness. All right. It's not going to kill you. And again, don't do it to the point where you're so sore and, you know, you can't, you know, perform during, you know, the next day's workout. That we're not aiming for that. All right. Just, again, a little bit of soreness during big training blocks is okay. All right. It's going to actually lead to more adaptations, more training transfer. And when I say that, it's actually going to be the next video I'm about to do. We'll do a transfer of training series where we talk about the how, the when, and the why. All right. So again, don't be afraid of a little bit of soreness. Don't automatically rush to using, you know, different recovery methods. Again, if you have a competition, an event, a race, we want to be fresh for that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the big training blocks that really set, you know, the foundation for increased performance. All right. So again, don't be afraid of it. All right. You'll see, you know, even if you're a little bit sore during workouts or training sessions, you can still push along, and it's going to be beneficial for you in the long run. All right. So that's what we got. All right. Stick around. Transfer training series coming. It's going to be some great stuff. All right. Later.